All right, so now we're going to talk about basic verb tenses, and you probably use a lot of these every day, but you don't know why you use them. So let's take a look. So you guys are going to jump to page 22 in your course book, and you should see this very colorful chart. We know that verb tenses in any language, but especially in English, are used to convey different times that an event has happened, is happening, or will happen. We have 12 major verb tenses, and we're going to just really focus on the ones that the test, tests. But we want to be on the lookout on the tests for clue words like has and have. So usually those are words that signal something called the perfect tenses. And you may have experience with those in other languages like Spanish or Italian or French, but these are very commonly tested on the SAT and ACT. The reason for that is most native English speakers use them sort of without thinking. You kind of pick them up naturally. You're never really sort of taught how to use them. So we're going to work on that in this chart. So you can see at the top, we've got past, present, and future. And I think everyone's fairly familiar with those, right? So I ate pizza, I eat pizza, I will eat pizza. That's what we call the simple past, present, future. And then of course, the continuous is with that ing gerund verb. I was eating, I am eating, I will be eating. Okay, fine. So let's talk about the perfect tenses. Now you can see we've got perfect and perfect continuous. Same thing as what we just did, simple and continuous. One's just like the plain simple, one's the ing. So as long as you know the basic rule, it's no problem. So basically what the deal with these are is the perfect tenses are talking about different actions in more complicated time frames. So if we're using what's called the past perfect tense, you'll see that that says I had eaten all of the pizza when you arrived. So you can see up here, I said, look out for those clues, has and have, because those are usually clues of the perfect tense. So when do we use this? It's when you're talking about a past action that happened before another past action. I'll say that again. It's when you're talking about a past action that happened before another past action. So let's break down this sentence. You can see the simple past tense here with arrived. So this person, whomever they're talking to, arrived. That already happened. Okay, but before that happened, this person had eaten all the pizza. They had eaten all the pizza. Right? So you can't say I ate all of the pizza when you arrive. That's not quite what we're trying to convey. We're trying to convey one past event before another past event. A good example could also be before Joe started tutoring, he had not had a tutor. So started tutoring, that already happened. Before even that, he had not had a tutor. So that's our past perfect. Again, same thing down here. They just changed it to the ing. I had been eating. Okay. Our present perfect tense. This is when we're talking about an event where some of it's already happened, but it's still going on, right? So I have eaten all of the pizza. So basically that's sort of like if somebody asked, where's all the pizza? I just saw it. I have eaten all of it. Maybe they're finishing that last bite. Another great example, I think, is, with tutoring, right? So if somebody asks, did you do all of Nikki's homework, right? You might say, I have done all of the homework so far. Why can't you say I did all the homework? Well, you're probably still within our tutoring program, so you haven't even been assigned all of the homework yet, right? We're still leading up to the test, so you can't have done it all. So you might say, I have done it all, right? Or I have done what has been assigned. Okay, then we have our future perfect, okay, and this is when you're talking about an event that you are sure is going to happen. It is definitively going to happen in the future, but it hasn't happened yet. So for instance, let's pretend that I am going to be graduating in June of this year. Today is June 2nd. So if I might say, by June 30th, I will have graduated high school, right? So it's kind of like, well, I know I'm graduating in June, let's call it June 15th. So I know that by June 30th, I will have graduated. That event will be over. It will have happened. There is no change to that. So that is going to be our future perfect. Okay, so those are kind of a quick overview of our perfect tenses. So I think, again, the past, present, future, stick with that baseline, but always be on the lookout for your had, have, and has, because those auxiliary or helper verbs are going to help you make those perfect tenses. Okay, so down here on page 23, I have a few more examples. Okay, so we know that they're used with what we call the past participle verb as well. So a lot of those are the you verbs, not all of them, but you can see some examples here. So it's going to be, ring is present, rang is past, and then you have rung. So ring, rang, rung. Rung is that past participle. Drink, drank, drunk. Begin, began, begun. So those are just some examples that we do use those. So it's not I have began my homework. It is I have begun my homework. Okay. So you can see from the notes here, this is basically just a review of what we just did in the chart, but I wanted to make sure that you had it, in your own notes, and we were really, reinforcing this. So of course, our past perfect is when we're discussing one past event that's already occurred before another past event. Some clue words to tell you if it's the past perfect are had plus a verb. So again, here's some examples that I did for you. Had gone, had slept, had studied, right? So then you can put some examples of your own. So obviously this is the teacher edition, but see if you can think of some of your own, right? Just putting in those verbs. Okay, again, over here, I have some examples as well. So, and I labeled it for you. So before Michael started tutoring, similar to the example I gave you before, so that was your past event, he had taken a prep course through No Anxiety Prep. So you can kind of see in the timeline, the first event and then the second event. So we've got two past events. We know that the past perfect tense is relevant here. Again, I wrote some other examples. I highly encourage you to try to play with this and write your own. Okay, we go to the present perfect tense, as we talked about. It's discussing an ongoing event. So some of it's already happened, but it is still happening in the present. Okay, some clue words here are has plus your verb or have plus your verb. So here's some examples of that. I have been studying for 3 hours. So that connotes that I'm still in the process of studying. You have run 10 miles. Maybe that person's training for a marathon. They have to run more miles. She has done the vacuuming, but still has to do the dusting. So again, connoting that she's still in the process of cleaning. They have drunk all the milk in the house. Okay, so again, some more examples here, has and have. And an example. So Lila realized in August that she has been tutoring with No Anxiety Prep since May, since her ACT is in September. So you can see that there are some time cues in there that show you the present perfect is correct. So again, think of your own examples. It's great practice. All right, and then finally we have our future perfect. So that's when you're discussing a future event or outcome that will definitely happen, like my graduation example. Clue words to look for are will have plus a verb. So I will have done all of my homework by the end of the weekend. You will have run 40 miles by the end of this week. He will have hiked all of the trails in Great Falls Park by the end of the year. So something that's going to happen. Okay, we know that Maddie knew if she studied daily for her SAT using the No Anxiety Prep strategies that by this time next year, she will have raised her score 200 points. So she knows it's going to happen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Okay, so those are some basic verb tenses, especially focusing on those perfect tenses. So I hope that helped a little bit clear it up. So definitely think of your own examples. Ask your tutor or an English teacher if you want to clarify some of them. But if you can get a handle on those perfect tenses, you're going to be able to beat a lot of those SAT, ACT test questions.